following God. Never following God.
While I was looking for information about the Jaguar XE for the review, I came across something quite interesting. Under the XE's photo on Wikipedia, it states the car's name. Oddly, it also states that it's called the XEL specifically in China. Cool, so it has another name in China. So what? Well, I was intrigued by this because usually the letter L at the end of a vehicle model name designates the vehicle has a long wheelbase. Long wheelbase cars are essentially like business class seats on an airplane. You get a few extra inches of legroom for rear seat occupants. Most have the ability to recline, and few have a leg rest that will make your commute extra luxurious, if you have the cash for a chauffeur. Or you could just buy a horribly unreliable car and have the dealership lot boys chauffeur you to and from the office and service department without ever having to lift a finger. Never mind, that's besides the point. Here is a BMW 7 Series. It is BMW's ultra-luxurious flagship sedan that has all the newest tech features from the minds of the ultra-precise German manufacturer. I'll use a 740i as an example. There are two options, the 740i, which is the regular sedan, then the 740Li, which designates that it's a long wheelbase. Here in the US, long wheelbase models are typically only seen for the flagship vehicle in a car company's lineup. The BMW 7 Series, the Audi A8, the Jaguar XJ, and even the big boy Range Rover Vogue have a long wheelbase variant. With this in mind, I searched up the XEL to see what would pop up, and sure enough, it was a long wheelbase version of Jaguar's compact executive sedan. Which is crazy to think about. They made a long wheelbase version of an entry-level luxury sports sedan. Scrolling through more photos, I came across an A4, a 3 Series, and a C-Class in long wheelbase variants. After diving further into these oddities of the automotive industry, I found tons of long wheelbase versions of cars I would have never even thought of. Even the BMW X1 has a long wheelbase variant for the Chinese market. The X1 is like the entry-level luxury SUV wagon thing that has, quote, broken the Top Gear niche-ometer. I'll get back to the X1 and its ridiculous tax-dodging capabilities later. And don't even get me started on Volkswagen's insane lineup of cars, specifically for China. The only thing that came to my mind was, why do these long wheelbase cars even exist? I did the research and I'm here to answer that question. At first, I thought it was for practical reasons. With China's massive population, you could probably wager they have quite a few traffic jams. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Now imagine the stress and road rage you see on your quite minuscule commute in comparison, and multiply that by 100. I think paying the extra money for a chauffeur would be a better option to add a few extra years back onto your life and alleviate some of that stress. That is only partially the case, however. The beginning of my research took me to the wonderful message board of Reddit that is definitely not filled with angry people. Here I saw people say that compact executive long wheelbase cars are more for practicality. It still has a shorter overall length than the full flagship sedans, allowing for easier maneuvering through some tightly packed Chinese streets. There are many speculations as to why the Chinese market loves their long wheelbase cars, but from my research, I think there is one main reason that is brought up the most. In China, if you're chauffeured, it shows that you have made it in life essentially. It's a status symbol just as big as the brand of car you drive, or get driven around in. Now you might be thinking, why not just buy the 7 Series or the A8? If only it were that easy. Imported cars in China are subject to heavy taxing. On top of that, any vehicle with an engine over a 3-liter displacement has a higher tax. It's essentially a consumption tax. Then, to round it off, you still have to tack on your sales tax before you can take your new car home. Here's where those odd long wheelbase cars start to make sense. The compact executive car segment has engine options under 3 liters, lower entry-level costs, plus the long wheelbase. The X1L takes it a step further by offering the 1-liter 3-banger from the Mini Cooper in your entry-level, long wheelbase, chauffeur-driven car. That consumption tax cut will surely get you the best chauffeur for your budget. This also makes it easier for the more affluent, younger individuals to get a slice of the wealth perception by getting a 328 Li, for example, over a big honkin' V8 7 Series. As I'm sure you can tell at this point, car manufacturers offer long wheelbase cars for almost all of their lineup. Essentially, you can choose from a compact, mid-size, or full-size luxury sedan, or an SUV, to get in a long wheelbase variant. It might seem odd to us in the US since we don't live in a culture like that, but it's such a big opening in the Chinese market that all these car makers have began making these cars specifically for China. It's a giant gold mine for automakers, and it just makes sense to take advantage of an opening like that. If you think I missed any important points or have some facts that are wrong, feel free to write a comment below and I'll go ahead and fix it. I'll have all my sources listed in the description below as well. Thank you for watching.